Welcome to iOS Insights. This NBA quiz is designed to test your knowledge of basketball players. Get ready to challenge your basketball expertise with this challenging and engaging quiz app. As you can see, the quiz is simple to use. All you have to do is just answer a simple question. Is this current or past basketball player? And just select or tap on yes or no. And then after that, it selects another player and you just have to select yes or no. If it's a past or current basketball player, click on yes. And then for this one, just click on no. And then yes. And then yes. And then yes. And then click on no. And then at the end of the quiz, it displays a list of results to show the correct answers that you selected. And then it also shows a percentage of the scores that were correct. So this time we got 100% correct and 0 incorrect. And to play again, just click on the play again button and then it takes you back to the first step that we showed earlier. And you can also update this quiz to add your own questions, and you can also update it so that the quiz comes from an actual API. So this is what we'll be creating using Swift and SwiftUI. Within your SwiftUI project, enter into the content view and then on line 12, enter the following: at state, private var, current question index equals 0, at state, private var, show result equals false, at state, private var, show score equals false, at state, private var, score equals 0. And then now create a new class called Player Manager. So to do this, just click on File, New, and then File. Select Swift File, click on Next, and then enter the name of the class, which is called Player Manager. And then click on Create. And then now, within the new created class, type the following, which is struct then Player Manager colon observable object open bracket and close bracket. And then above this class, also import SwiftUI. Type in import SwiftUI. And then create a struct, which is called player, struct, player, and then select identifiable. The purpose of inheriting identifiable for the player's class is to enable the actual player to be looped within the GUI. So we can loop through each of the elements within the GUI if we inherit identifiable for the player class. Now enter the attributes of the player class, which is let id equals UUID. So this just creates a random ID for each player. Let name equals string, the name of the player. Let image string. Let is a basketball player. This is a boolean. It just indicates if the player is a basketball player or not. Then bar is answer correct. Is answered correctly. False. And then now, within the player managers class, type in the following. At publish var players and player. So the purpose of marking the players property as at publish, it will notify the GUI, which is the content view, of any changes within the array, just in case there is any or not. So it will submit the updated changes to the GUI. So now we just type in, this should be a square close bracket on line 22. This one here should be square, and then the one below it should be a closing square bracket. So now we just type in player, open bracket, name, and then for the name we just type in LeBron James, as he's a basketball player. And then for the image, just type in LeBron James' name again, but just put the actual name all together, and that will represent the actual image. But we'll be adding images to the assets folder, which is here, later. And then is basketball player true? I'll just delete this part, it's incorrect. Is basketball player is true? It seems like that's correct. Let me compile it just to make sure. class manager. Just compile it. Cannot find comma. There's an error somewhere. Where is that? I'm just fixing this error at the moment. So I'll type this in again. So let me select it from there instead. And then delete that one. And put the values into this one. So just enter LeBron James, enter it again, and then for the image, enter LeBron James is a basketball player, and true. Let's see if this compiles. If this compiles, we just copy and paste the rest. So why doesn't that work? Struct, observable, objects, at published, var, colon players. Yeah, that looks like it's correct. Oh, I know what the problem is. This should be a class and not a struct. So that's the error. So let's try it again to see if it builds. Yeah, so it built. So now that it's built, we can just duplicate what we've done but change the names and the images for different players. So just put a comma here at the end of line 23 and then just copy and paste it. Yeah, paste it about 7 times, I think. So it's at 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then on line 24, we enter the name Kobe and then for the image, just set this as the image. So just copy the name and then just paste it as the name as the image. And then another name, just enter Brad Pitt. And then just type in Brad Pitt here for the image. Brad Pitt. Basketball player. This is false. So he's not a basketball player. He's an actor. And then for the next one, for the next basketball player, just enter Tom Brady. And then for the image, just type in Tom Brady. Basketball player is true. And then for the next basketball player, type in Stephen Curry. And for the image name, just type in Stephen Curry. Is a basketball player, which is true. And then for the next basketball player, just type in Michael Jordan. And then for the image, just type in Michael Jordan. And then 40 is a basketball player. Yeah, leave that as true. And then finally for the next person, just type in Tom Hanks. He's not a basketball player, he's an actor. For the image, just type in Tom Hanks. And then for the is basketball player, just assign this to false. Just make the actual code a little bit neater. So what we've done here, we have created an array, an object array, where we're passing in the actual values to the player's constructor, which is there. So we're passing in true to the is basketball player attribute, and we're passing in the image name to the image attribute, and the player's name to the player's attribute of the player within the constructor. So we're just like assigning the elements to this player's construct, which is here, to the struct. But really, in a real live or proper professional example, this information should be coming from an API, like a JSON payload. But for this example, it's just like being populated using an array of objects. So now we have all of the data populated within the array. We'll go on to the next phase of the application process. Back in the content view, on line 16, enter the following: at state object private var players equals player manager. What this line does, it creates an instance of the player manager as a state object. So now we have the actual values from the player manager that we can use. And then on line 19, delete everything between lines 20 to lines 25. And then now, what we'll do is create an empty view. And then now type in a closing bracket. And then what we'll do now is create the NBA title view. So to do this, what we'll do is create another struct. So click on File, New, and File. Select SwiftUI file. Click on Next. And for the NBA title view, just type in NBA title view. And then click on Create. Import SwiftUI. And then create the actual struct, which is struct NBA title view var body sum view vstack text, open bracket, then type in MBA. Dot font, system, size, 60, and then the weight is dot bold, design is dot default, foreground color is dot white, padding is dot 20 top. So what this does is that it displays the NBA text with a large bold font and a white color. And this NBA title will be positioned 20 pixels from the top. And then next, what we'll do is create our subtitle, which is text, open bracket, basketball, and we can copy what we've done here and change a few things around. So copy the lines between 15 and 17 just to save a bit of time, and then for the size, make the size 30. For the weight, keep it as bold, and the design is default. The foreground color is white, and the padding is 20 but to the bottom. And then next, type in frame, width 300, height 150, and then next type in dot background, linear gradient, and then type in gradient, open bracket, colors, and then open square bracket, color dot red, comma, color dot blue. And then for the start point, just type dot leading, for the end point, just type or select dot trailing. And then, is there a mistake here? Colors. Oh, we missed out the colon, so just enter the colon there. And then now, the next thing we do, we just type in dot corner radius 20, dot shadow black, then the radius, which is, yeah, this is incorrect, so it's open bracket color So it's dot black for the color, and the radius is 5, comma, x 0, x is 0, then y is 5. So lines 27 to 30, what that does, it applies a linear gradient background with red and blue colors so that it represents the NBA color scheme, and then it applies a corner radius of 20 to give the view around the corners, and then it applies a drop shadow effect with a black color, which is here. So we'll just compile it to make sure that everything is correct, or that it compiles anyway, because it can compile but it's not correct. And then we click within the content view, so go back to the content view, and then within the content view delete lines 20, the empty view, just delete that. Now type in NBA title view. So this is the actual view that we'll be using as a title. So now if you run the actual application, we should see the new title that we just created, which is the NBA title view. So we'll just run it now. So is it running? Because my Mac is a bit slow. Yeah, so at the moment it's in the middle, but we want it to be placed at the top. So what we need to do is create a spacer. So on line 21, just enter spacer. That should be capital S. Now this will be positioned at the top. As you can see, it's now positioned at the top. On line 22, just type in this comment to do, or line 23 is up to you, 22 or 23. Just type in to do question view goes here. So the question view function to retrieve the player's photo and to retrieve the question, like so. So if you click on yes, it displays the next player. Click on yes, or no, it still displays the next player. So that's what we're going to be doing in this session. We will now start the tutorial. Open the content view, and then on line 22 enter the following: to do, and then type in results view. And then the next thing to do is we need to create a new struct, and we need to call it question view. So what you need to do is create a new file. So just click on file and then new, and then file, and then select Swift file, click on next, Now type in result view. No, not result view, I mean question view. Question view. Now click on create. Within question view, type the following. Import SwiftUI and then create your struct. So struct, question view, view, let player colon player. So create a player object, which is the player for the current question. And then type in let on answer selected. Open bracket bool and void. So what this is on line 13, it's a callback closure that is executed when an answer is selected. And now the next thing to do is create some state variables. So just type in @state private var selected answer boolean and question mark, which is an optional boolean. So the boolean could contain nil or true or false. And then type in @state private var show basket ball equals false. And what this does, it shows the basketball spinning on the screen. And let's type in var body sum view yeah, that's correct. And then type in spacer vstack zstack and then image open bracket player dot image. So what this does, it displays the actual image within the image view of the player. Dot resizable dot aspect ratio dot fit dot frame width 200 and height 200. So that's the width and height of the image, which is 200 by 200 pixels. If show basketball has it been declared correctly? Show basketball. So next thing we do is create another to-do. And then type in spinning basketball view. So that's the next thing we will be implementing. And then next, just scroll down and then on line 31, enter the following text, open bracket, is this current or a past basketball player? Dot font, dot title, spacer, so what this spacer does, it just pushes it up a bit, so it pushes this text field up to the view. H-stack, open bracket, close bracket. And now we'll create our yes and no buttons. So type in button, open bracket, action, select answer, just making sure the variable is correct. Select answer, select answer, yeah, so select answer, so select answer is a method, it doesn't exist as yet, so we need to create it. So just comment this out so it doesn't confuse us. And now we'll create the method, the function select answer. Function select answer, open bracket, answer, bool, selected answer is equal to answer. If answer and player dot is a basketball player, if the answer is correct and the player is a basketball player, show the spinning basketball animation. That's what we're going to do next. Show basketball equals true. Dispatch queue.main.async after deadline dot now open bracket close bracket plus 3. So what this does, it will show the spinning basketball animation for 3 seconds. So we're missing a bracket here. And then type in show basketball equals false, as we don't want to show the basketball anymore. Answer selected answer. So now go back to the button section of the H stack, which is here on line 37, and now type in the following. Open bracket, text, yes, that's for the yes button, dot font, dot title, dot padding, dot frame, min width 0, max width infinity. So what this does, it will set the width to expand horizontally. Oh, we missed out something on line 37. We need to pass true boolean to the function select answer. So that should be true. Now type in dot background color, open bracket red, colon 0.14, green 0.46, and blue 0.78. And this on line 42, this is the same color scheme that is used within the NBA blue color. Now type in foreground color dot white dot corner radius is 10, just to make the button a bit curvy on the edges, so the button won't really have sharp edges. And now we do the same thing for the no button. So what we can do is we can copy from line 37 to line 45. And then just paste it after the first button we just created. And then what we do, we assign false, and we assign, or we enter no into the text field, the text box. And next thing we have to do is delete line 52. No, don't delete line 52, just delete between the first bracket and the last bracket on line 52. And now type in color red. And then everything is similar to the previous button, apart from the color scheme. And then the next thing we need to do is add 5 spaces on line 59 or 60. So just type in spacer, type it in 5 times. And then next thing we'll do is compile, just to make sure there's no errors. It's good, that compiled. So next thing we do is return to the content view. So add the following on line 24. Question view players open bracket current question index and then enter the bracket at the end, then open bracket, and then is a basketball player, and then in. So what this does, this is a closure that we're using that will get if it's a basketball player and send that actual value to another function that we will define later on. So let's run the actual application now just to see the layout and to see if it works. So as you can see, it's created the 2 buttons that we done earlier, yes and no buttons, although they don't do anything at the moment. And it's got the question, is this a current or past basketball player? So the next thing we'll do now is add some of the photos, the images of the basketball players. So to do that, just click on assets and then get your images. I have images on the desktop. So just select all of your images, go to file, select all, and then drag all of your images onto your assets. Drag them here or here, it's up to you. You can do it there or here. So drag it onto your assets. So just select it again. And now run the application again, and we should see one image in the image view. It's just compiling at the moment. As you can see, it displayed the image of the basketball player. So next week, the functionality that we'll work on is to get the is to enable the yes and no button to be more interactive. So when I click on yes, or if I click on no, it displays the next basketball player. Answer, open bracket, is correct, is basketball player. So now we will implement the actual function called check answer. To implement this function, just create the actual function signature on line 20 or after line 29. So just type in function check answer, open bracket, is correct, bool. So what this function will do, it will check if the answer provided by the user is correct and update the is correct answer property of the current player. So to do that, just type in players, player, open bracket, current question index is answered correctly equal to player, players, open bracket, current question index is basketball player equal to is correct. And then the next thing we do is create an if statement. If players open bracket, current question index is answered correctly, then score plus equals 1. So if the question to the answer is correct, just increment the score to 1. So the scores will be 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on the amount of times the answer is correct. And then the next function we need to create is called show next question. So just type in show next question. And the purpose of this It proceeds to the next question or shows the results based on the current progress. So to create the actual function show next question, just create it after line 39. The function show next question, and then type in current question index equals 1. So what this does, it increases the current question index to move to the next question. If current question index is more or equal to players dot count, so what this means, if all questions are answered, set the show results to true to display the results view, which we'll do now. Show results equals to true. Else show results, else show score, is equal to true. So what this does, if there are more questions, set show score to true to display the current score, like the current progress. So score is 1, score is 2, score is 3. And then type in dispatch queue main async after deadline dot now +3 with animation show score equals false. So what this line does, it will show the score for 3 seconds and then the score would disappear at the bottom of the view. So the next thing we can do is, what else can we do now? So navigate back to line, or after line 26. So the next thing we'll do is add the show score functionality that shows the actual score within the text, like a label or caption. So just type in if show score text. So if show score is true, then show the score. So text score, and then this shows the actual value of the score. Just add a bit of styling, font dot title dot animation dot none dot transition opacity dot on appear dispatch queue dot main async after, deadline, dot now, plus 3. Show score equals false. So after the 3 seconds, the score will be invisible. I think we're missing the full stop on line 30. There's an error, cannot find title. So we need a full stop there. So now let's run the application to see if it's working or not. So is this a current or past basketball player? Click on yes. And that should increment the score to 1. Is this a current or past basketball player? Click on yes. The score should now be incremented to 2. And this one's no, this is Brad Pitt. So click on no, it should increment it to 3. But it seems like this functionality isn't working properly. So I think we have to go back to the question view. So go back to the question view and then navigate to select answer function, which is this one here. But it seems like we don't have a condition if the answer is no or false. So what we have to do is on line 77 type in else. So what this will do, if the answer is incorrect or the player is not a basketball player, wait for 1 second and then trigger the callback, which is this: dispatch queue main dot async after deadline dot now plus 1. And then to execute the actual callback or closure, just type in on answer selected open bracket answer. So now this should work because this was the line that was missing. As you can see here, it includes the line. That's why it works when we click on yes, it's a basketball player. And we need that bracket there as well on line 78, this bracket. So now let's try and run it again. Oh, we're missing another bracket on here. I think that should do it. So let's try and run it again, see if it works. Is this a current or past basketball player? Yes. The score should be 1. And then yes. The score should be 2. And then no. The score should be 3. Yes, it seems like it's working. Yes. No. yes. As you can see, the application crashed. Seems like we need to do some checking to do the index, so let's try and fix that now. So what we need to do to stop that from crashing is add some validation on line 23. So what we'll do, we add this. If current question index is less than players.count, then call this function and this closure. Yeah, that should fix it. Let's just try it now. See if it crashes or not. It shouldn't crash now because we're checking on the actual index. So, is this a current or past basketball player? Yes. Score should now be 1. Yes. No. These are actual basketball players, but I just click on no just to test the actual score functionality. No. As you can see, the score isn't incremented. This is he's an actual basketball player. So I click on no as well, and the score will be 3 still. He's a basketball player. I'll click on no, and the score should be 3. Basketball player, no, which is the truth. He's not a basketball player, so now the score will be incremented to 4. And then this view that's shown at the moment, that will show the actual results view, and the results view is the view that we'll be creating next week. So as you can see, to create the actual tutorial, it's not too tricky. It just includes like if statements and arrays, and a little bit of like looping or index checking, and a struct. So yeah, let's code. Create a new file by clicking on File, New, and then File, and then select SwiftUI as a view, and then give the name of the file spinning basketball view. And click on create. And then now we can delete the spinning basketball preview because we're not using that. Let's delete that. And then also on line 12 we can delete the text, and on line 11 just enter the following: at state private var is animating equals false. And what this does on line 11, it's a state property to control the animation. The animation will be to enable the ball to spin or not. So that's the purpose of line 11, it's a boolean. And now on line 13, just type image, open bracket, and then type in the name of the image, which is basketball. And this image should be saved in your assets somewhere, for example, here. And it has to be the same case, basketball with a capital B and a lower b at the end of the word. And then type in dot resizable dot frame width 75 and height 75. So that's the size of the basketball. Dot rotation effect is animating question mark angle degrees. So this just means it's going to animate all the way around 360 degrees. Dot 0. So there's a mistake here, I think. Degrees angle open bracket is animating effect. Oh, it's the bracket. There should only be one bracket at the end. Dot on a pair with animation dot linear open bracket duration 3. Repeat forever. Auto reverse equals false. So what this will do, it will start spinning the animation when the view appears. And it will do the actual animation for 3 seconds. Is animating equals true. Dot on disappear with animation then is animating equals false. So that's the end of the animation. Oh, there's still an error on line 16. So what is it? Open bracket. I missed out 360 degrees. And then a closing bracket there. And I think something else is missing. There should be the colon here as well. Yeah, let's compile it and see if it works. And the next thing we'll do is try to run the spinning basketball view within the content view. So go back into the content view. Now that was a mistake. The spinning basketball view, that needs to be called within the question view. So go into the question view, and the comments that we created last week, just on comment lines 28. And then now we should be able to run the application and see the spinning basketball. So let's try and run it now. So just click on the run icon. So just select yes, because when it's correct, that's when we see the spinning basketball. If it's incorrect, we won't see the spinning basketball. So the basketball should be spinning near to the player's face, near the center, near here. That is correct. That person is a basketball player, is or was a basketball player. So click on this one for no, and we shouldn't see the spinning basketball because the person was a basketball player. So let's test it. So as you can see, we didn't see the spinning basketball because the person was a basketball player. And this one, is this current or past basketball player? Click on no. It's not a current or past basketball player. Is this a current or past basketball player? Click on yes, and you see the basketball spinning, so that functionality is working. So I'll just stop it there. And then the next thing we'll do is to implement the results view. So the results view, it shows the names of the players that you found correctly. So to create the results view, you can either click on File, as we normally do, click on New, and then New File, or you can use the shortcut keys if you want to. So what you'd do, you'd you'd press down the CMD key, the control key, and then you click on New File, and then just give the file a name. This time we're selecting another SwiftUI file, and then name this file results view. Let me just bring it in here. Yeah, so what we need now, we have to create some variables at the top. So just create let players, open bracket player. This is a players array. Let score int. Let on play again tapped, open bracket, close bracket, void. This is a closure that we're creating. So the purpose of the closure is to enable a callback when the play again button is tapped. And then on line 16, just type in VStack, text, quiz, let's type in dot font, open bracket title, dot bold. So what this does, it just makes sure the quiz results text has a font style of bold. And let's type in and then type scroll view, open bracket, lazy VStack, open bracket spacing, 20. Let's type in for each, ID, a comma, ID, dot name. So what this does, it will go through the players' names within the players array. And then type in if player is answered correctly, So if that is true, create a H-stack and then show the player's image, their photo in the H-stack. Player.image. Dot resizable. Dot frame width 50, height 50, dot corner radius 25, text player dot name dot font title and dot foreground color green. And then what you need to do on line, or after line 38, just type text score dot font title, and then we need to display a circular progress bar to represent the score as a percentage. So to do that, scroll down and type zstack circle dot stroke color dot gray style dot stroke style, line width 10, line cap dot round, dot frame width 150 and height is 150. And then on the next line type circle dot trim from 0 to CG floats score CG floats, open bracket, players score, players dot count, and then circle is spelled incorrectly. And then type in stroke, color, open bracket, red, 0.14, green, 0.46, and blue, 0.78, style, stroke, style, open bracket, line, width 10, and then line, cap, dot round. And then let's type in text, open bracket, comma, calculate score percentage. Calculate score percentage. So that's a function that we need to create. Dot font title. And the calculate score percentage will display the actual percentage in a circle. So now let's go ahead and create that function, calculate score percentage. So you can just copy and paste it. And then on line or after line 59, just type in the following function, calculate score percentage, open bracket, and then int. This will return an int. And then type in guard players.count more than 0, else return 0. And what this does, line 62, it checks if there are any players to avoid division by 0. So there has to be at least one player to do the calculation. Let's type in let percentage equals double open bracket score divided by double open bracket players dot count times by 100. So that will calculate the actual percentage of the quiz score. And then to return the results, just type in return int percentage. And what that does, it just converts the percentage into an integer and returns the result to the corner. So what we need to do now, go back to line, is it line 53 or calculate percentage score. Yeah, go back to line 53. No, go on to line 55 or 56. 55 or 56. And then type in text, open bracket, comma, incorrect, players dot count minus score dot font title dot foreground color equals red. So what this does, it displays a number of incorrect answers. And next we create a play again button. Oh yeah, we've forgotten to put a full stop on line 53, which is here. Full stop, then title on this line. So to create the play again button. What you need to do, you just type the following in button, open bracket action, on, play again tapped. And then type in text, play again, and type in dot font, dot title, dot foreground color, dot white, dot padding, dot background, color, red, 0.14, and green, 0.46, and blue, 0.78. As I said last week or the previous week, these are all the NBA colors, the color schemes. Dot corner radius is 10. And then on line 74, type in dot navigation bar hidden. It's true, so that hides the navigation bar. So now let's compile it and check for any errors. On line 52, we're missing some brackets. Because this is a function, we need to provide these brackets here. So it should be a bracket there, a bracket there, and a bracket there. And also the percentage sign symbol, which is there. So let's compile it again, see if it compiles correctly. Yes, it compiled. So now we need to go back to the content view. And then on line 21 or 22, or after the spacer, so it's up to you. Just type in if show results. Open bracket. Then type in results. Result view, or you can select it on this line. Result view. So we pass in players. Got players. And the score. And yeah, that's it. So we don't need that parameter there. You can just delete that one. So what this does, it will show the result view when all questions are answered. And then we need another one of these brackets, and then we need to also type in reset quiz. We have to create that function afterwards. And then so what do we need to do now? Oh, we need an else statement to go with the if. So all we need to do, bring this if statement up to line 26 and type in else if. And now we have to create the actual function, reset quiz. So to create that function, just scroll down to line 46 or 47 and type in function reset quiz. Current question index is equal to 0. Show results is equal to false. Show score is equal to false. And score is equal to 0. So what that does, it just resets the quiz by resetting the state properties and marking all players as not answered correctly. Let's run it now and see if it works. Yeah, so now click on yes, basketball player. Yes. And I'll pretend to get these ones incorrect. So I'll just say yes. It should be no really. I'll say yes, I'll say yes for this one. Say no for this one, but it should be yes. And I say no for this one, but it should be yes, because they're all basketball players apart from the actor. And I say yes for this one, but it should be no. See, as you can see, it shows the amount of players that were correct in the quiz, and it shows the actual percentage. But there's a little error with this circle here. So we have to go back to the other view that we was in. I think it was the results view, and we need to fix that. It seems like we forgot to add the frame and rotation effect on line 51. So the frame is the frame of the circle that states how big it should be. Frame width is 150 and height is 150. Dot rotation effect dot degrees open bracket, minus 90. Let's see if this works now. Do yes for this one. This time I do no for this one. Do no for this one. I do yes for this one. And then yes. Then yes. And then yes, which is false. So as you can see, it displays the correct results, this time with the correct percentage and the correct circular shape and size. So these are the actual names that I matched up correctly, if they're basketball players or not. And these are the photos for each of the players. And I scored 71% and I got 2 incorrect. So if you want to play again, you can just click on the play again button. And to make this quiz more realistic, you could have the data coming from a JSON API, like from a web service, or you can have it coming from like the actual NBA web API to make it more realistic. So this is the end of the tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it. The provided code implements a quiz app for identifying basketball players. It utilizes various SwiftUI views such as Content View, Player Quiz View, and Results View to present the quiz questions, displays the results, and handles user interaction. The Player Manager class manages the list of players, and the NBA title view adds a stylish title to the app. Overall, the code showcases a basic structure for a quiz application within SwiftUI. So that's the end of the tutorial. Please comment, like, and subscribe if it helped you in any way. And I'll see you next week for another tutorial. Bye.